Welcome to 50 Lessons. This podcast explores capoeira as a practice that shapes how we live and teach. My name is Alex Maltsev. In this first season, I'm sharing the lessons from my book, 50 Lessons on Capoeira, Teaching and Life. Let's begin. Chapter 6. From Passenger to Pilot. You have already listened to 5 chapters of this book, and you have reached the end of the first section. Are you enjoying the journey? I hope you are. But let me ask you this. Do you want to be a passenger on this ship or its captain? Have you ever finished a course and still felt like you didn't learn anything? You sat through the lessons, listened to the instructor, and maybe even took some notes. But when it came time to apply what you learned, you were lost. That's what it means to be a passenger. As a passenger, you are just along for the ride, a piece of human baggage. You get your food and drink, and the airplane takes you from point A to point B. Sure, you reach your destination, but you have learned nothing about how to fly the airplane. Your next option is to become part of the flight crew. The flight crew knows more than the passengers. They have a role and some understanding of the airplane's operations. They know some things about airplanes, but it's still not the same as being in control. This is progress, but it's not mastery. The only way to truly learn to fly is to become the pilot or co-pilot. To master anything, you have to take control and full responsibility. You need to engage deeply, commit to learning, and actively apply what you have learned. When I started studying Chinese back in 1999, I approached it like a passenger. I attended classes, listened to the teacher, and thought I was learning. But when it came to using the language in real life, I was completely lost. I couldn't even ask for directions without stumbling. It wasn't until I treated learning Chinese like my flight school, taking detailed notes, practicing characters daily, and explaining new words to my classmates, that I truly began to see progress. Immersing myself in the language and actively applying what I learned made all the difference. To become the pilot, follow these steps. First, enroll in a formal ground school. Taking a course is your ground school, your introduction to the theory, navigation, and tools you will need. Take it seriously. Treat it as your foundation. Get hands-on practice as soon as possible. Whether it's a flight simulator, shadow boxing, or deliberate practice, application is key. Theory without practice is like an airplane that never takes off. For example, learning to code? Start a side project and experiment with functions. Learning a new movement or technique? Try incorporating it into your next game, sparring, or solo practice. Learning a language? Write your own sentences, practice speaking, and teach new words to a friend. Third, teach it to someone else. If you can explain what you have learned to a 6-year-old or your grandmother, you have truly mastered the subject. Teaching simplifies complexity and deepens understanding. Fourth, create your own flight manual. Take notes during your course, but make them your own. Write down concepts in your words, summarize key ideas, and explain them to yourself. Personalizing information makes it stick. In the words of Steven Pressfield, the professional dedicates himself to mastering technique, not because he believes technique is a substitute for inspiration, but because he wants to be in possession of the full arsenal of skills when inspiration does come. End of quote. Even seasoned pilots have rules to live by, and these apply just as much to learning as they do to flying. Empty your cup and stay humble. No matter how experienced you are, there is always more to learn. Complacency is dangerous in aviation and in life. Treat each flight with respect and remain open to new insights. Seek mentorship. Guidance from those who have been there before is invaluable. Learn from their successes and mistakes and let their experience shorten your learning curve. Enjoy the journey. Never forget why you started flying in the first place. Stay connected to your passion, appreciate the process, and celebrate your progress. Mastery isn't a destination, it's a lifelong adventure. This book, your courses, and your workshops are only as valuable as the effort you put into them. Whether you are learning capoeira or any other skill, remember, you can't become a pilot just by sitting in the cabin. Step into the cockpit. Take notes, practice deliberately, and teach what you have learned. The path to mastery is in your hands. Now start flying. Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, you can find the book 50 Lessons on Capoeira Teaching and Life on Amazon. New episodes are published regularly as I continue recording the book and reflecting on the lessons it contains. See you in the next episode.